What's up, guys? Zeenigami here, and let's go through 7 Deadly Sins equipment. All you need to know, what equipment to get and what equipment to work on, and how to best farm your equipment. So let's first talk about how to get your equipment, or even what equipment to put on your characters. For most characters, you're going to want to have attack and defense gear. That is getting 4 pieces of attack gear and 2 pieces of defense gear. It doesn't matter which pieces are where, but 4 pieces should be attack gear and 2 pieces should be defense gear, so that way you can get the set bonuses for the attack bonus and the defense bonus. Now, the best way to get those, don't invite me, I'm busy right now. The best way to get those is to get each town up to 5 hearts. Once you get your towns up to 5 hearts, you're going to get a repeatable quest that gives you a guaranteed SSR piece of gear right there. So if I do 8 runs of this, I'm guaranteed to get an SSR attack pendant. Or if I do in town 2, 8 runs, get SSR guaranteed defense bracer. And then this will rotate through after you finish this one. It will give you another 8-run mission to get a different piece of gear for that same set. So chapter 1 is attack, chapter 2 is defense, chapter 3 is health, which is useful for a few characters. And that's how you're going to get your SSR gear. There's basically only 2 rarities of gear that you're looking for: the SSR gear and common gear. Now, you're going to probably get a lot of common gear just incidentally while you're doing those runs, but you can also go into the town and very, very cheaply buy a handful of common gear here. So you can see here, only 2,000 gold. I can just buy I can buy all 10 pieces of common gear here. If you are going to buy the gear, I recommend at least doing it after you beat the raid boss for that area, so you get that 20% discount. And don't forget that 20% discount does stack if you donate to the town. So you can go here, donate the 30,000 to get another 20% discount buff, and then you can buy a whole bunch of gear if you need to just get a bunch of gear for people. So if you go donate 30,000, you get another hour of another 20% discount for that town. So that's how you get your common gear really easily. Or if you just go out in the world, you will get a lot of common gear by doing the easy runs. So if you go to, say, here, up to this one, do the boop, 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 cheap run here, you will get a ton of common earrings. Very easy to get common gear. And then it will eventually have you do this one for the SSR gear. So why do we want to get common and SSR gear, right? Why are these the only 2 gear pieces that you want to get? In short, it's because the left side we want to have SSR gear and the right side we want to have common gear. Now, go through is not set up like that. A lot of my characters aren't set up like this because I haven't really farmed that much SSR gear yet, and I haven't really leveled up a lot of my gear. If you are a super big whale and you're spending a lot of money in the game, then you just want to get the highest rarity gear in everybody. Higher rarity gear is better than lower rarity gear. Let's get that straight. Higher rarity is better than lower rarity. Nobody is arguing otherwise. But here's the difference. See, here's a piece of SSR gear. Or here's a, do I have a common that I can compare it to? There we go. Here's a SSR bracer on the left side and a common bracer on the right side. You can see here that on the left side, I have 470 stats here and only 130 stats here on the common. The reason we want the left side gear to be SSR is because any of these 3 pieces on the left side actually have a large difference between the amount of stats that you have available. So you can see here that the range is somewhere between 390 to 520, whereas on common gear, the range is somewhere between 90 and 120. So that is a 4-5 times increase in stats on the left side gear, just for these bracers at level 1. But on the right side gear, the difference between the SSR gear for the ring is 210 to 280, but the uncommon ring is only 75 to 100. So it's only a 2 times difference here. But the amount of money that it takes and the resources required to fully max out a SSR piece of gear is literally 10 times the gold to upgrade a piece of SSR gear than a piece of common gear. In order to fully upgrade a common piece of gear here, like this jewel right here, to 5 stars, you're gonna expect to spend about 300, 400,000 gold in order to upgrade this piece of gear to 5 stars. To upgrade an SSR piece of gear to 5 stars, you're looking at 2 to 3 million gold in order to upgrade to SSR. And that's just on gold. You also have to consider that in order to awaken it, you have to use the better awakening materials for SSR gear. So SSR gear is way more expensive to upgrade than common gear is. And once again, the difference between stats between the common and the uncommon and rare gear is not that large on the right side, whereas the left side, there is a larger delta of stats. So to summarize once again, left side SSR, right side common. Now you can use common, uncommon, or rare gear on the right side. Any of those are optional, although common is way cheaper and the difference in stats isn't that much, so it's not really worth it going up. But do not ever use SR gear. And the reason we don't want to use the golden SR gear, and the reason we don't want to upgrade them, a lot of these characters I just have gear sitting around on because these are just throwaway gear. It's better to have some gear on somebody than no gear at all. But you only really want to work on a few key sets. So you want to focus first on your main team, the main team that you're using. You want to focus on them and get their gear maxed out first. And then if you've got the extra time resources, work on gear for a second, or a fifth set for characters, or a sixth set for characters. But their first 4 characters, those are the ones you're going to want to focus on first. And then maybe work on gear for like a PvP character or a PvE character and stuff like that. But you want to work on a key set first. And at least on your throwaway characters, give them gear. Because if they have gear, that gear does factor into their association. So a geared character gets more stats, and that stats is influenced in association whenever you're using that character as a support character underneath. So the reason we don't want to level up SR gear is because in order to re-roll a stat in SR gear, it actually, well, this one is going to cost gold, but if we want, we don't have stars on any characters because I don't do this. But let me show here. For common, uncommon, and rare gear, if I wanted to change this pierce rate stat, for example, it's 7,000 gold to re-roll pierce, and I can re-roll that. For SSR gear, in order to re-roll this, it's going to cost you either gold or 5 whole anvils just to re-roll it. And it's an entire month. I've gotten 1 anvil incidentally. You're going to have to buy these anvils from PvP points. Very annoying to come by. It costs like 200 PvP points for anvils. So it's either going to cost you 2 gems or 5 anvils just to re-roll this, and you're unlikely to get the thing you want. You're going to want to redo this a bunch of times in order to get your right stat. So for common gear, you can sit here, 5,000 gold, 7,000 gold, 10,000 gold. It's basically free. You can just sit here and re-roll this with gold that you can farm for over and over and over and over again. Whereas in SR gear, these stats are really, really expensive in order to roll away. But you get the bigger stats boost on the base stats. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for attack and defense on most characters. That's how you're going to really get most of your benefit out. Remember that sets will also stack. For example, my Jericho here is one of the weird characters that aren't using attack defense. Jericho, there's a few different groups out there suggesting different things. If you use crit damage on your Jericho, you will get more damage overall. Now, if you don't crit on Jericho, then you won't get as much damage if you're doing full crit damage, but Jericho's crit damage also increases her ult damage, and her passive increases her crit damage. So after the first few attacks, your Jericho will be doing more damage overall if you build her crit damage versus building her attack damage. And on Jericho, we are doing all crit damage gear. And crit damage gear is available only from PvP. So you can either buy it from the PvP store or roll it for PvP. And this piece in particular is only available from rolling in PvP. So you have to pull this from PvP. Otherwise, all these other pieces you can buy. You get crit damage on Jericho. Everyone else, attack defense. There are a few characters you can really quickly think, is this character dealing damage or is it a support character? For example, King. For most people, the blue king that you get from story mode is a support character. You're going to be really using him in order to heal. You're going to be using him in order to petrify. So on him, you want to use health and defense gear. And this king is set up basically correctly. I just have the wrong ring piece because I haven't really worked on this yet. So left side, SSR gear, right side, common gear, and just kind of work on and upgrade this over time. That's a quick rundown for gear. There is also a piece of advice that I hear online that I don't know how trustworthy it is, but that if you are salvaging equipment, which you should be salvaging equipment in order to get more awakened stones in Diane in the tavern, you should upgrade your gear to like just +1 here, just your SSRs. That's rare enough that you upgrade to the +1. So that way you can salvage it, so that way you have a better chance of getting awakening stones. I don't know how true it is. I've been looking for a resource on it. So far, I just hear mostly word of mouth that it's better to do so. So I'm doing it, but I don't really have any better sources for that. So if you have a better source, if you guys know where this kind of hint or information comes from, I would love to see it so I can make sure that we are passing around good information. Otherwise, I'm just giving it a quick upgrade before I salvage it to see if we can get some better stuff. Whenever we're awakening stats, the reason we're really looking for these substats is that these substats on the right side are going to be, and substats on the left side too, are going to be a huge upgrade on your characters. Now, if you pay attention, the top row here, these will always give you offensive stats. So it's attack and all the substats here. If you click here and if you click on this little magnifying glass, you can see which stats it actually gives. It's all the offensive stats. Those are the ones available to roll. On the middle row, these are all the defensive stats. So defense, crit resistance, crit chance, crit damage down, and resistance. And then on the bottom, it's all health related stats. For the bottom row, in general, the only stat we're looking for basically every single character is health. Every single character wants to reroll for health on the bottom row of equipment. If you get above 75% chance, 75% of it, that's good enough for me for most things. You know, if I'm feeling lucky, especially on the right side stuff, since we're looking for lower rarity stuff here, I can reroll this until I get pretty close up. But I'm not going to go to get that last 1 or 0.1 or 0.2% chance on these. I'm going to leave these there. Maybe if I'm feeling lucky and bored one day, I might roll these to try to get them a little bit higher, but almost not on the 2.5, maybe on the 2.2. For your defensive stats, for most characters, any high roll defense stat is good. So defense is the most valuable defensive stat. That's going to be reducing basically any incoming damage. Resistance is next useful defense stat, and then crit resistance is after that. That lowers your chance of getting crit, and then crit defense is the least useful. So there's a tier on defensive stats in defense, resistance, crit defense. In order, that's what you're looking for, but I'd argue that any high roll on any defensive stat is useful on your middle row. And then on your top row, the stats that you're looking for the most is attack here. You're looking for attack on any character is always happy to get attack in the top row. After attack, for most characters, crit chance is going to be the next useful stat, equal with pierce rate. If you don't know what pierce rate and crit chance do, crit chance increases your crit chance, and pierce rate is basically additional true damage in your gear. I'm looking for the actual damage formula in the game. There are some formulas out there that aren't very accurate, so if you have a better source on accurate damage calculation in the game, I am looking for that as well. So attack stat is king, that's what everyone's looking for. Then after that, pierce rate and crit chance, and after that, crit damage. The only exception basically being Jericho, who doesn't give a balls at all about crit chance because she gets passive crit chance, and anybody else, it depends. There are some characters that are looking for resistance because they have a passive that might benefit off of resistance. But you gotta keep that in mind. If a character has an ability that scales off of pierce, if a character has a passive or an attack that scales off of crit damage or something like that, then you might want to go for those on those characters, but attack is what you're looking for the most. Guys, that's all the advice that I have. If there's anything else you can think about, please let me know. We might do some more videos of that, of any information we might have forgotten. And don't forget, come by on twitch.tv/Zeenigami, where I am streaming this basically every day, and we're playing a lot of other games. The game right now is Doom Eternal. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all stay beautiful.